All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brittany Diamond Murray. I am the Associate Director for Public Affairs and Strategic Outreach with the Veterans of Foreign Wars Washington, D.C. office, where our team does some magnificent things. And with me today, joining me is Carol Whitmore, our Commander-in-Chief. She has been in her role now for just over a month and a half, and she is a fierce advocate for veterans, as well as the very first woman to lead the VFW in our 125-year history. So pretty big deal. Carol, thank you so much for being with me here today and having me with you as we're both attending the Military Influencer Conference for the very first time together. So we're really excited to be here with you all, and thank you for coming to see us this afternoon. Starting off, the name of our session is For Veterans by Veterans. And we had a question, what is that session about? And I thought to myself, well, maybe I should have elaborated a little more, but I would like Carol to explain what For Veterans by Veterans means to her and why that is her slogan for her year as Commander-in-Chief.
Yes, thank you so much, Brittany, and thank you, MICON, for having us here with the VFW. It is my first MICON conference, as Brittany just said, and it is just wonderful to see how many people are here that support veterans. And what the session was, For Veterans by Veterans, is my motto for the year. And I let my commanders class, I have one of my commanders sitting right here, Bill Miles, and it means that we're taking care of veterans in the best way possible that we can. I have 3 different focuses for my year. It is legislative advocacy, our service officers, and our POW MIA mission. And I'll talk last about our advocacy that we can do on Capitol Hill, but our service officers are integral in how we take care of veterans. There are so many different ways to navigate through a claims process for disability, and our service officers do it for free. There are so many law offices out there that charge a phenomenal percentage or fee, but we do it. We are VA accredited. There are many other service organizations out there that are accredited, but we do this for free. And it's the right thing to do for fellow veterans, because when you have a disability and the paperwork is so daunting, that's what our claims service officers do. And it is about taking care of that veteran and not preying upon that veteran who is desperate. And we need to ensure that that never happens anymore. And we have several bills that we have forward in Washington, D.C. to help navigate that and take care of that and make sure that is disbanded. And also our POW MIA mission, which has been kind of lost in the last few years. Those families deserve to have that closure, and that service person needs to have that final salute on American soil. And we need to have that closure with DPAA, our Defense POW MIA accounting agency, and that is another focus of mine during the year.
And you touched on some very important topics, Carol. The VFW is at the forefront of many things that a lot of people are just not aware of, even rank and file VFW members. So you've touched on our service officer program and also our advocacy and our POW MIA mission. Carol, you yourself have gone out with the DPAA to dig sites.
Yes, that is correct. I went to Vietnam last year and was privileged to go up in the mountainsides of Vietnam to participate in a dig site. And it is one of the most humbling experiences I have ever been a part of, knowing that one of my fallen brothers could possibly be going home. Happens to be from Georgia. I can't disclose a name, but happens to be from Georgia. So I hope to be part of that repatriation in the next couple of years. And I don't care where I am in the world, I will come back for that and make sure that I help give that final salute to him. It's not a well-known mission to the public, but it can only happen once a year. The monsoons in Vietnam preclude us doing a year-round dig, so we've only been able to do this 50 years since Vietnam, but we still have over 1,500 missing in Vietnam, over 80,000 still missing from World War II. And that's because a lot of them were on ships and lost in the ocean, and unfortunately they are unrecoverable. But we still have in Korea, we still have at least 2 contractors that are still missing in Iraq, and they deserve to come home.
They do. And that's a mission that's very near and dear to the VFW for understandable reasons, you know, promising to leave no person behind from any conflict. And so, as I mentioned, you know, you're a very fierce advocate and very memorable. And I want to backtrack for a moment. You know, you've been in your position now. The VFW, we have a new commander-in-chief every year, and they rotate. They're elected every summer, and so you're about 6 weeks-ish into your tenure. How have you been received so far?
You know, it's been so tremendous. I have never been turned away and said I don't belong here. There has never been anybody do that. But I try not to give anybody a reason to doubt me either, because once you're in this position, you have to embrace it totally. And I have been trying to do that to the best of my ability. I know I don't have a product to sell. I have me to sell. I have the VFW to sell, and we are not a product. We're veterans, and we need to be taken care of properly and respectfully and professionally, and that's what I want to make sure happens.
Absolutely. And so you briefly spoke about your passion for taking care of fellow service members, because if we don't take care of each other, then nobody will.
That is correct.
That is correct.
The government is not going to knock on our door in 10 years and ask how we're doing. I guarantee that. But we will, the VFW will, and I know other service organizations will also, but the VFW is invested in its own, and we want to make sure that everybody knows that.
Yes. And so with that, the VFW, we're made up of just under 1.5 million members between VFW and our auxiliary. And so with that, we have a tremendous pool of individuals who are able to share their experiences with us. Whether they're family members interacting with the VA through, say, caregiver support through the VA, or veterans who are accessing VA healthcare or using education benefits, or even the VA home loan. So VFW is able to draw on our membership, and a lot of people don't know this. And I mentioned this before, even some VFW members, many myself included before I started in this role, don't realize the presence that the Veterans of Foreign Wars has in Washington, D.C., advocating for veterans and currently serving military members and their families. And so we're able to harness the power, the strength of our membership base to bear and share those stories, those experiences directly with the people in Washington, D.C., who have the power to make change, which is really incredible. It's a really incredible thing, and it's something that we take very seriously. And so, Carol, you know, each commander-in-chief has their priorities for their year. And so I would love to hear more about what your vision is for the remainder of your year, as I know that includes advocacy.
That is my #1 priority, is making sure that our legislators take care of us the way they promised to. We have a phrase that we use now, it's called honor the contract. Every military person signed a contract when they came in and said that we will support and defend with our lives if necessary. And we just want to make sure that our legislators, the government, honors their end of the contract. We are honoring ours, and you know, we want to make sure that we are not forgotten from the promises that were made to us and that we deserve. You know, when you know, we go off to war, we're taught how to go to war. We're not always taught how to come home from war. And you know, taking care of us mentally, health-wise, physically, financially, you know, if we have incurred injuries that we're not able to support us or our families anymore, That's what veterans deserve, and I want to make sure that that happens. We've had a bill that's been in Congress for more than 20 years, concurrent receipt, where you had to choose between medical discharge for your pension, and they are two different pots of money, and a veteran should not have to choose between that, and if they deserve to have that money, they deserve to have it. Now it is called the Richard Starr Act. And very unfortunately, Major Richard Starr has passed away from his injuries from Iraq, and so has his wife. They will not see the end of this bill. But that is one of my goals for the year, is to make sure that gets through, that our legislators take care of us the way we deserve to be taken care of, and that my fellow brothers and sisters are taken care of the way they're supposed to.
As they should be. And it's incumbent upon us as veterans together. So we're only as effective as we are. Nobody achieves anything alone. And so that's something that is so important, and one of the biggest lessons that I have learned since being with the VFW on Capitol Hill is that nothing gets done alone. It's so important for us to form coalitions when we have common goals, and that is the only way that that bill is going to get across the finish line. And I know that is very near and dear to your heart. It's very important to you. You're very passionate about it. And if anyone is curious about VFW's other legislative priorities, you can visit vfw.org. And within there, we do have legislative priorities, so you can get an idea of what we're working on every year. And we do have several members who, if you have any specific questions about legislation, are able to reach out to. If you send us an email, they can respond to you with questions on specific legislation, including the Major Richard Starr Act.
Correct.
So,
and we have such a brilliant staff in Washington, D.C., and our Kansas City office at headquarters. Ryan Gallucci, I will praise him all day long. He is our legislative director, or our director at our Washington, D.C. office, along with Christina Keenan and Brittany as well.
Team.
They are just brilliant at what they do, and we are very grateful to have them. But, it's about getting it across the finish line this year, and I'm extremely hopeful this is the year.
I am as well. It's been too long overdue for veterans to get the full benefits that they have earned. And so I do want to pivot really quickly. You and I had a conversation recently, and I know I am completely aligned with you. And, as a service member, we're service members first. As veterans, we're veterans first, without any caveats, right? However, you have taken on this role within VFW as the first woman to lead us, this phenomenal organization. And I just want to take a moment to thank you, because you're such a passionate individual and you have such a presence and you're so passionate. I mean, I guess that comes from your background as a nurse.
Yes.
So Carol served for 36 years. 36 years in the Army.
Yeah.
And which is tremendous. She was part of the.
I joined when I was 12, so don't
do math. But so Carol, you were part of the Women's Army Corps.
I was.
Correct?
I was. When our previous speaker spoke about the 688 and the women that started, that was in Des Moines, Iowa. That's where I live, and that is the Women's Army. It was the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps at that time, and that is about 2 miles from my house. And I go there and visit, and it's our Gold Star, our Gold Star Museum, and the pictures there are phenomenal. And I am a very proud WAC. I was one of the last groups of WAC to go through in 1977. They disbanded in 1978 and became part of the regular Army. And so I am very proud to say that I was part of the Women's Army Corps.
Which is incredible, because you're able to see the evolution of women being integrated into the total force.
I think I went through 10 different uniforms in the 36 years. It is quite an evolution. Yes.
And so with that, with the amount of time that you spent on active duty or just in service period, you've amassed this incredible amount of knowledge, which uniquely qualifies you to be in this position to better advocate for veterans. and currently serving service members. And I also just want to acknowledge that, as the first woman in this position, I know you're a veteran first.
Yes.
And you've always been adamant about being a veteran first.
I'm a veteran first. I happen to be female. Yes, that is it. Period. I am a veteran.
It is a detail. However, we know that representation matters. And VFW is a very diverse group. And it really does matter that you have worked to get here. You've put in the time, you've put in the effort and the dedication. And so behind you, you have a whole cadre of, people who haven't seen them as, seen themselves potentially in a role like this.
Yes, and we make up almost 20% of the active duty force now. Females make up almost 20% and nearly 14% on reserve and guard time. That is a huge number. That is, we are the biggest influence coming through the military in the last few years. And I'm so proud that there's some other females out here. Nicole Johnson, thank you so much for being out here. And Dwayne Kilborn and Doug. It is just tremendous here in Georgia how we have been embraced. I've never felt like I'm not welcome in a room, but that is from hard work, and it is just a tremendous privilege to do what I do. I get historically what this means, but it is not about this. It is not about what I look like. It is about what I can accomplish and what the vision of the VFW can do for fellow veterans. Yeah. That is my biggest hope and my biggest dream, to make sure my fellow brothers and sisters are taken care of.
Absolutely. And there's again, it's just a detail about who you are, but there's also women veterans. Our care at the VA has also not been, say, up to par in terms of like access and resources are the biggest thing. And so also with your nursing background and your passion for advocacy and your great skill. So I've been working with Carol for years in the advocacy space. When I joined the VFW team back in 2021, I met Carol with her husband during our fly-ins, where Carol was just here or in Washington, D.C., representing Iowa and meeting with her legislators, just like the rest of our VFW team, our National Legislative Committee. So
when my year is done, I will continue to do that, because I know that's where we get our work done, on Capitol Hill.
That's where
And I have said many times, if I have to sit on those steps and advocate every week, I will do that if I can, if it's necessary, because it is so important that we take care of the promises that were made to us.
Yes. And then you're also positioned to also advocate for the services, for the betterment, the continuous improvement of VA services that are specific for women veterans, which is also great from your nursing background too. So I super appreciate you. And I am curious if you have any other thoughts that you'd like to share with the audience that have come up since we've been chatting.
I would just like the audience to know that the VFW was so important in the passing of the Forever GI Bill. We sat on those steps and made sure that the Forever GI Bill happened for every active duty person. The PACT Act, that the presumptive toxic exposures that has just been passed a couple of years ago. We sat on Capitol Hill steps, and we
did late at night.
We had a force there to make sure that did happen. The VFW has been the forefront and tip of the spear of other service organizations to make sure that this happens, and I'm very proud of that. And I want to make sure that we continue that path.
As I'm certain that we will. With the team that we have. I'm fully confident that we're going to continue that mission. It's a continuous effort. It's a marathon, and that's what it's about. Yes. It's about veterans coming together regularly to accomplish the goals that we have as a collective unit. And every voice matters. And so I would encourage everyone to get involved and follow the VFW and help Carol bring her vision to life this year especially on her bill that is near and dear to her, the Major Richard Starr Act. And so follow VFW for updates on that bill and other legislative priorities, and so that you too can be part of this fight to ensure that veterans are getting the true care and benefits that they've earned and deserve.
Yes, so legislators that are listening out there, let's get this done this year. The Richard Starr Act must pass this year.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Carol. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.